Welcome back to RTFE. Got a lot of things going on today, so I had to kind of do this one in the car. So anyway, question that was posed: where is the word? Because I do know a few origins. You know where words where came from, and they're not always what you might think. But I was asked today about the word politics. How did the whole system, our governing system, become colloquial? I can't pronounce it. Became known as the word politics. That actually is stemming from our founding father, George Washington. Back in that time frame, what was that, about 1797? Yeah, that's when he left office, I believe. But in that time frame, in that whole era, ticks was a bad word. Well, not a bad word, but it was negative. So if you said like, "Oh, that person's a tick," that was a derogatory term, and sometimes you have to have fisticuffs over that term. The point is, tick was a bad word. So, you know, there was an article. I'm not sure if it was in the Boston Globe or the Examiner, but there was a question, and you know, it's one of those Dear Abby type things, and somebody had talked about George Washington. And of course, from the dawn of time, there's been right wing, there's been left wing, there's been people on both sides of the aisle and whatnot. Hate each other. It's no different today than it was back then, which is great. Everybody's got an opinion, but there was an article that was written, and someone had wrote into one of these newspapers and referred to all of this in general as a pile of ticks. Well, you see where I'm going. What happened there? All of a sudden, you know, so word of mouth, people started talking about, "Hey, did you read that article where they're talking about politics?" What? Politics? Politics. Politics. Next thing you know, the whole kit and caboodle was called, people started calling it politics. I know it's very mundane, very simple, how that name came about, but I mean, that's how it came out. So next thing you know, when you're talking about government, you're talking about all the different people that make up the governing bodies, people started calling them politics. When in all reality, it was pile of ticks, meaning a bunch of dumbasses. Whatever you believe, whatever, you know, right or left or whatever, you could agree that we've all at one time called them a bunch of dumbasses or jerks or whatever, you know, some good ones, bad ones, what have you. But ticks, pile of ticks, and written into a letter into maybe it was the Daily Planet, I'm not sure, but it just kind of grew from there, kind of like that telephone game, and next thing you know, everybody's being called politics. All right, well, Bob's your uncle. Peace.